Oh, well, hello there, you beautiful, wonderful, intelligent, creative human being. I'm Andrea Don, and today we're here discussing more yoga asana. I am joined by Kazuko and Rama, who are here to help us discuss Marjariasana, or their favorite posture, cat pose. And one of the things I like to do for my asana practice is to give it meaning so that the movements don't become autopilot. When you've been practicing for a bit of time, and especially with postures like cat cow that are cued in almost all asana classes, it is the tendency to then be in our mind chatter as we're doing the movements. So how can we stop that? We can think about the why we're doing the posture, or really understand deeply the why behind it, and have some reflective, contemplative time about each posture. And so when you think about the essence of the cat, it brings up so much goodness for you to contemplate and for you to cultivate your own ways of being. So let's dive in. Each posture in the physical yoga practice has a Sanskrit name ending in asana. Asana means seat or posture. Today we will explore Marjariasana, also known as cat pose. When we break down the Sanskrit, we see Marjari, which is cat, and asana, which is seat or posture. The history of cat pose is not very clear. The cat pose we practice today is not found in a historical text, yet there's another variation of cat described in the yoga text called I'm not even going to try because it is a lot of letters that don't go together for me in the English language, but it's in an old 17th to 18th yoga text that there's a posture translated as upturned cat. And while the shape of the spine is similar to our cat, the shape described in the text is performed lying on the back, more similar to Apanasana, or knees to chest pose. Regardless, cat pose is a helpful, accessible posture for most and is commonly practiced in a combination with cow pose, or Betalasana. You will most likely hear instructors cue as if the posture is one. Let's do some cat cow now. Marjariasana is usually practiced as a warm-up for spine mobility and in preparation for more intense back bends. So this brings us to the why behind Marjariasana. The big picture why behind all yoga postures is to develop a meditation seat. Having the goal of sitting may not feel like a lofty goal. However, we could consider our seat to be the seat in our chariot, of which we must ride to the gates of internal freedom. If we do not know how to sit in our chariot, we will spend our lives tinkering around outside the chariot, wondering when the driver will be arriving. Asana is like our driver's ed for chariots. We must be prepared, and our bodies must be able to handle the bumps, the bounces, and the turbulence that's sure to arise on our journey. Marjariasana creates spinal flexion, which stretches the back body while strengthening the core body. This posture also has the potential to stimulate abdominal organs, increase circulation, relieve back pain, as well as improve posture. Because this posture is often practiced with cow pose, it also aids in spinal mobility, general awareness of the spine itself and its natural curvature, as well as promote coordination between breath and movement. Marjariasana can have symbolic, metaphoric, and meaningful significance to our own personal lives. When we consider the Sanskrit translation of the posture, Marjari stands out, which translates as cat. And when you consider the essence of a cat, what comes to mind? Curiosity, playfulness, independence, confidence, perception, agility, flexibility, self-regulation. The cat has so many qualities that we are encouraged to develop to walk the yogic path. Which of these characteristics needs to be developed in your way of being? I currently have 2 kittens, and their ability to play with everything, obviously, is inspiring. I lost my... As adults, it seems quite common that we forget the importance of play. Can you recall the last time you felt silly, had a big old belly laugh, skipped instead of walked, had a water balloon fight, made fart noises, tickled your partner, busted out your dance moves, howled at the moon, or did something for joy versus predefined productivity? Or what about independence? What if you took yourself out to dinner and a movie, had a day of silence or a day of no social media? It is not morbid to acknowledge that we will all one day have to walk through death's door alone. When we consider the importance of developing ourselves with the qualities we decide are important versus the qualities society has told us will make us valuable, we will obtain a much deeper sense of inner peace. Rather than striving to be who we are told to be, we get to be who we are meant to be. And perhaps we were meant to be cats. Or at least, I think I was. But I do really think it's helpful in our practice not to create more mind chatter, but to have these kind of go-to correlation words. So like we talked about cow being the divine mother and equaling nourishment. Now cat might mean something like playfulness or independence for you, or cultivating your observation skills or your agility or your flexibility in life to be able to deal with situations and things that are beyond your control, and to really work on what is in your control, your reactions, your thoughts, your behaviors. So when you do cat pose, maybe one of those words comes in and relieves some of the mind chatter that you might be having. So let's demo this posture. All right, we're going to start on hands and knees. So you'll bring your knees underneath your hips, your hands either under your shoulders or slightly forward. Spread your fingers wide, grip through your finger pads. Push down through the big toe ball mounds of the feet, and we'll start in a neutral spine. So we want to make sure we're not dumping into the shoulders, but we have neutral spine, little micro bend in the elbow. And now I want to think about just acknowledging my natural curvature. So I'm noticing I have a curve in my low back, a curve in my upper back, a curve in my neck. And then I'm going to bring my awareness to my tail and start here. And we'll start by pointing the tail down. So this is how we'll create flexion in the spine, drawing the belly button up as I follow the rounding of my back from lower to middle to upper. Then my chest bone rounds down to my pubic bone as I let the head fall. Pause here, empty out, feel your navel reach up towards your spine. And then let's come back to neutral in that same exact order. So I'm going to start at the tail and start to tilt it up towards neutral as I let the mid, upper back, and head come to neutral. Now you might do that a few times, or you might start to add in your cow pose. So from Marjariasana to Beetle Asana. And I really like to start the movement at my tail. So I'm going into the movement from there, and I'm coming out of the movement from there. So really staying with the articulation of the spine. Now, if this is hard on your wrists, some things you could do would be to bring your hands to fists. You could use fists right here. You could bring your forearms to blocks, right? If it's hard on your knees, you can double fold your mat, put a blanket under your knees. If you want a little bit different experience, you could do cat-cow from the forearm position, right? There's so many different ways you can experience cat-cow. I love to do things like stand on my knees, bring my arms to cactus arms, and work that same flexion and extension from standing on my knees. You can do things like coming to sit, bringing your hands to your knees, working your cat-cow here, right? It's so good for your spinal mobility. It's so good for your posture. And it's just great to really get the spine moving every single day. I hope this was helpful in understanding cat pose. Hopefully it gives you some inspiration and some ideas for reflection so that you can make your cat pose more meaningful and powerful in your physical asana practice. Thank you so much for being here. My heart sees and feels and smiles to yours.